In our modern times, there are many different styles that people choose to wear. One of these styles is called steampunk. In today's speech, we're going to discuss what steampunk is and how to be a steampunk. And I'm going to focus on three main points, and that's what clothing to wear, what gear to wear over top of that clothing, and what kind of persona to come up with, or at least how to start the character you're trying to portray with your attire. So, before we get to all that, we need to find out what exactly is steampunk. Different people tend to have different definitions, but according to K.T. Breisky, author of www.ministryofpeculiaroccurrences.com, steampunk is an inspired movement of creativity and imagination, with a backdrop of either Victorian England or America's Wild West at hand. Modern technologies are reimagined and realized as elaborate works of art, fashion, and mechanics. If Jules Verne or H.G. Wells were to write their science fiction today, it would be considered steampunk. So that's what steampunk is. So where do we get started? Well, as with most styles, the first thing one might want to look at is what to wear. And that's going to be starting with pants and the shirt. There are many different styles of clothing that one can dress as in steampunk, but an easy thing to start out with is just a standard button-up shirt. Just plain, nothing, no designs on it, just black, white, whatever color button-up shirt, just like one I've got on here. And for the pants, there are different styles of pants one can wear, but one that I personally like to go with is the American Wild West style, which consists of usually just brown or black color, something basic, like the ones I have on here. So those are the basics. The next step we want to take is perhaps a vest. So what we got here is a red vest. Nice western looking red vest. So we're just going to slip that on here. Whether or not you want to button up is entirely up to you. But here's just the basic vest in appearance with all the brass looking buttons and the color red, which is also a good way to look steampunk, is with red, brass, and brown colors around those areas. Although it's not necessary, and if you are like me and you live in Arizona, it gets pretty hot here. But it is a good idea sometimes to wear a coat. The type of coat I like to wear is just a standard black, plain Victorian era frock coat. I'm going to put that one on. Just like that. And again, it's hot in Arizona, so I usually don't do this. However, for the sake of this demonstration, one addition you can put onto your steampunk clothing and attire is a hat. We have multiple styles. We have guys like this right here, and we've got bowler hats and things like that, top hats and etc. Just because of this outfit, I mean, this would look a little weird with the rest of what I'm wearing. So for the sake of this outfit, we're going to go with the bowler hat. So here you have everything here is basic kind of clothing you'd want to wear. Now, although clothing is important, the gear is what makes one go from a mere Victorian dresser to an actual steampunk. Some of the basic gear we can have are weapons. Now, you don't actually want to take real weapons to conventions and things like that because you don't want people to think you're actually there to harm somebody, obviously. Right? I mean, real weapons are cooler looking, most of the time, but there are ways to make plastic and foam weapons look more realistic and look more interesting and appealing. And of course, there are plenty of places to buy such things like cool weapons that are steampunked out. According to Austin Serkin, steampunking Nerf guns by painting them is a pretty common practice among steampunks. I myself don't have a painted gun on me, however, I do have one that I want to paint, which I think would be very nice, which is this bad boy right here. This big Nerf long shot, I believe is what it's called. Things like this, big and bulky, have lots of little details on them. Paint these gold, and black, and red, and brass, and all those sorts of colors, and then you'll have yourself a nice futuristic laser gun looking weapon that can't actually hurt anybody. Unless, of course, you shoot in the eye, which we should probably try to avoid. Second thing you can look at for the gear is pocket watches, literal gears. As you can see on my wrist here, I've got one right here. So with these, you have actual little gears and things inside that help you to look like a steampunk. You can also have canes. Canes can be used, obviously, as a weapon, but you probably shouldn't use them as that. They're just sort of styles. I mean, there are different kinds of canes. For example, this one opens up, doubles as a mini telescope, and it actually works. It's actually pretty amazing. Unfortunately, I can't show you with camera, but you'll just have to take my word on it. So there's the gear. Very important, obviously. However, there is one last step to becoming a true steampunk. While the style and cogs of an outfit are important, the equally important step is the character persona. Now, when you're trying to figure out your character persona, you don't have to necessarily come up with this huge, detailed definition of where you came from and who you are. I mean, you can, of course, a lot of people do. But if you're just starting out, it's sometimes a good idea to just give your alter ego a name, something as simple as that. For example, my own steampunk character's name, which usually wears this sort of attire, is Friedrich. And basically it's Frederick, just pronounced funny, just because I like to pronounce it that way. So you can give yourself your own names. They can be sci-fi related names, or they can be real sounding names. I mean, for example, my real name is Zach, but it doesn't sound steampunky, so, you know, I like to get a little flair name on it. Now, if you choose to go with a more detailed story, one thing that you can start out with, very basic, that many steampunkers like to start out with, is make yourself part of a crew of an airship or spacecraft, something that can travel through time and space. Some people just do Earth, some people actually do outer space, some people just do time. Everybody has their different stories, but these are sort of basic ideas where you can start. I myself, for example, am part of an airship that actually travels through outer space and time. So you can do plenty of things just like that. So there you pretty much have it. 3 important steps to becoming a steampunk. And congratulations! You are now all well on your way to become a steampunk now that you know what clothing to wear, what gear to wear, and have an idea of where to start with your character persona. So, once again, congratulations on being well on your way to being a steampunk.